Please welcome Eric Sabendal and Marina Kamim.
Hi, everyone. Mic on? Okay. I'm Marina, and I'm on the product team at Notion.
And I'm Eric. I'm on the engineering team at Notion, and we're so excited to show you today how Notion AI, agents, and custom agents have changed the way we work at Notion.
So these days, both Eric and I work on Notion AI, but that wasn't always the case. We had a bit of a journey getting here. I actually used to hate AI. There was a PM meeting maybe 9 months ago at this point where Akshay, our head of product, asked the PMs to raise their hand if they use AI daily, and every single PM raised their hand except for me. I refused to use AI back then because I kind of didn't think it was that useful at the time. I was very, very moody about it. But then I gave it a chance, and I started to use Notion AI to first remember product decisions. As a PM that work on 10 projects at a time, that's kind of helpful. Then eventually I started using AI meeting notes to take notes for me. And I think at this point I haven't taken notes in like 3 months. But the last straw was when I built my first custom agent to write weekly project updates for me. And now I don't have to do my least favorite part of my job. This is literally me now. In the last year, I went from being an AI hater to the #1 AI defender at Notion.
Woo. As for me, I actually started on the finance team at Notion. When we started building Notion AI about 2 years ago, I said, I gotta get involved. And before I knew it, I was labeling data on the side, and 2 years later, look at me now. I'm a real part of Notion's engineering team. So Notion AI also lit up this other part of my brain, this love for connecting dots. I've been in chief of staff roles, I started a little internal newsletter at Notion at one point, and it's all because I really believe that having the right context helps you make better and faster decisions, something I know Notion AI is doing for millions of people every day. And lastly, why I'm here, I love tinkering. This photo has nothing to do with tinkering. But every time we come out with a new Notion AI feature, it just feels like we get to reinvent how we work, and it's just so fun.
So this morning you saw some exciting new updates in our keynote. First, we launched our new and improved personal agent, and you got a sneak preview of our new feature, custom agents. And these agents have been like the biggest shift in how Notinos work in the past 4.5 years that Eric and I have been here. What really surprised us was how quickly these agents caught on once we started testing them internally, or dog fooding as we call it. Suddenly people who were never interested in AI, like old me, were using personal agent throughout their day and had a roster of custom agents helping their team. I actually checked this morning, and Notinos over the past month have created, I think, 836 custom agents, which, we're about 1,000 people at the company now. That's almost 1 agent per person. So today, Eric and I are really, really, really excited to share some of the stories from inside Notion and hopefully spark ideas on how you can use agents to transform your work as well.
And I don't want to undersell it. It was like the Labubu matcha latte Dubai chocolate summer of agents. They were everywhere. Everyone was talking about it on Slack. And when Marina says 836, that was across HR, people, go-to-market teams, sales teams. Everyone was building agents. It really reminded us that with the right tools, everyone is a builder. And if this slide doesn't make sense to you, we'd love to introduce you to our enterprise sales team. So first, let's talk about our personal agent. It's the same Notion AI you're familiar with, but with some key power-ups. Everyone saw Brosy this morning. First, it knows Notion. We taught it how to use Notion blocks. It knows how to use all your pages and databases. It's your own Notion power user, just one click away. Second, it knows you. You can now personalize your agent with instructions, memories, and even these fun accessories. And finally, it can now do tasks end to end. This means instead of just simply replying to your messages, your agent is making a plan and then executing it, running multiple searches, editing pages, even updating entire databases. So with this, inside Notion, we've almost started talking about working with agents like shaping clay on a wheel. And here's what I mean. Imagine you're Jakob thinking about that database permissions feature. You're gonna write a proposal. you've probably got all the information somewhere. And it's really just about moving that information around, shaping that clay. It's just this lump. And traditionally, your process would be pretty manual, clicking around, finding the right document, copying and pasting. But with your agent, you can now spin that clay. You can work in faster ways, new ways. I think most ways we start docs is brainstorming with the agent on an outline, pushing it into a draft on a Notion page, and then having the agent actually go find supporting data from Slack, from PDFs. It's really someone you're collaborating with, and you're able to stay in flow, just shaping clay. And I love shaping clay.
We also gave you a sneak peek into custom agents, and you can think of custom agents as essentially an agent that you can fully customize. You decide what specific instructions they should follow, what information in Notion they have access to, and when they should step in. And they're proactive, like fully autonomous. I can set up a trigger, let's say, every Monday at 9 a.m., write my project update so I don't have to do it, and the agent goes and takes care of it. It automatically runs in the background while I'm asleep, so I don't have to babysit it. And finally, custom agents are truly limitless. A single agent can take care of multiple tasks, and you can also have hundreds of agents working together. And Eric talked a little bit about how working in Notion feels like shaping clay, but when you add custom agents to the mix, work feels kind of like playing a video game. You're creating characters, you're giving them abilities, and you're setting them loose in your world or your workspace. And it's a bit like the game Plants vs. Zombies. If you haven't played it, I recommend. Each plant in this game has a job, and together they take care of the zombies without you having to click around. So just like custom agents feel for everyday work. You plant them once, set the instructions, set the triggers, and they just take care of the work for you. And guess what? I love playing video games.
That zombie wasn't my Slack messages to you, right? Just ignoring
Absolutely.
them. Got it. So let's get into it. Let's start showing you some examples. I will call out, you've probably seen stage 2. We're the live demo stage, only for the brave. Things might get weird, non-deterministic, and a little bit crazy, but let's do it.
All right.
So let's start with 3 Notinos. The first one we'll start with is Rusty. You might have seen him flying around. Rusty is on our marketing team working on Notion's brand. And he's actually one of, if not the driving force behind making Make with Notion happen these past 2 years. So let's hear it for Rusty, honestly. He's got some faces in the crowd.
Some Notion Rusty fans in the crowd.
Rusty fans in the crowd.
Love that.
And a big part of planning Make with Notion is organizing all of the speakers, all of the talks you'll see today. It's 3 stages, 16 talks, 35 speakers, replicated 7 times, or replicated across 7 countries over the next couple months. And Rusty's got his hands all over it. Here's the actual database Rusty built to make that a reality. He has all the presentations, speakers, times, stages, all clearly organized in one place. I could never do what Rusty does, but what if I had to? Let's jump into Notion and see how we can use our personal agent to build a database like this from scratch. Okay, so let's get into it. Let's say we just published our Make with Notion agenda online, and Rusty, my new boss, said, hey, Eric, let's have a meeting to talk about how we're gonna track all these presentations. So what I'd normally do is give it a title, and then start to manually click around, pick the right property type, start filling it in one by one. But let's try giving our agent a crack at it. So I'll try a prompt like that, and let me snap this to the side. I'll say, I'm planning prep for the speakers at Make with Notion on September 18th. Can you fill out this database and a schedule for stage 1? You can view the information on makewithnotion.com. So we're already seeing the agent is starting to make a plan and then execute it. It's viewed our website, or it's viewed the website. Your new agent can view websites, and it's already started to update the properties and add the rows. The live demo gods were pretty good today. This is faster than I've ever seen it. We'll just skip all the talking points.
Yeah,
great.
Yeah, we had jokes, but we don't need them.
We don't need them. Yeah, knock on wood. Okay, great. So this looks pretty good. We also had some brainstorms for stage 2 and stage 3 content. So let's pull that in. Let's say stage 2 website spec, stage 3 brainstorm. And so in the first example, you saw that our agent visited a website, got the information, and used it to build this database. Now we're asking it to look at Notion pages. So let's take a look. The first one is, you can say, just from a website design spec, we wanted to figure out maybe, hey, what does the website look like at this size? And this page is just an image, there's no text, but since your agent can view images, it won't have an issue with this page at all. The second is a AI meeting note. You can see we just kind of hit record during this pretty casual brainstorm. We've got our full transcript here, and then Notion AI cleaned this up into this really crisp summary. Since our agent knows how to use Notion blocks, this won't be an issue either. So let's go back and see how it's going. Okay, great. So it looks like we've got all 16 talks here, all the times, all these speakers. So this looks really great. Rusty will be very proud of me. And let's do this last one. Let's clean it up. So I said, this looks great. Can you group this by table? Can you group this table by stage? Let's add some views to see the flow of the day and sort by time. So in those other examples, we were changing the structure of the database and adding information. Now our agent is actually manipulating sorts, filters, and adding new views. So let's see, we saw it apply some grouping here. Great, so super great. It created a couple more views, and then my favorite, it even made this view, where we can track all of the sessions throughout the day. So I would say at this point, Rusty's definitely gonna be proud. What would have taken maybe 30 minutes to an hour has probably just taken us 3 minutes, and we didn't even actually click inside the database. So for Rusty, not having to do that busy work means he has a lot more time to make today a special day. So let's jump into our next Notino. Flip over, great. We'll talk about Luca. Luca, a bit of a shy guy, has this one. I promise he's not a custom agent, he's a real person. Luca is on our engineering team and was actually the engineer who prototyped personalization just a few weeks ago. And I'm gonna be honest, when I first saw personalization ship internally, I said, cool. You know, I like fun hats, I like changing how my agent talks, but was it really that useful? It didn't really click for me yet. But that changed when Luca showed us his instructions page and how he was using it to build powerful shortcuts. So let's take a look. Okay, so what you'll see here is just another Notion page, and that's a really important part. You can see it's got blocks, it lives in my workspace. There's really nothing unique about it. But what it is almost a scratch pad for me and for my agent. We both can write to this whenever I ask it to. So let's go ahead and load this up. Every agent, maybe get a name. I'll give it my dog's name, Bosco. I'll load in the agent. And then of course, we do need an accessory. So we can do this, let's go pencil. Let's go pencil for Luca. Great. So the first thing you saw is this banner up here that says that this page will start to influence your agent's behavior. And what this means is every time you open a new chat with your agent, this page will automatically be loaded into the context, including any links or subpages, even databases you might have on this page. So it's a really powerful system. So let's start seeing what I've written down here and what my agent's written down. We've got some personal details, how I'd like my agent to respond to me, even some Notion preferences. And being a live demo, had to demo this because this was a use case that was helpful yesterday. Remember my user ID is this one. There's always, for little things like this, user ID inside Notion, someone's always asking you for it so they can put you into an experiment. I never knew where to put it. I was throwing it in random pages and I said, wait, what if I just give it to my agent? So my agent's always following me around with my user ID. And you can see it wrote it right here in my personal details. And you can do that from any page, just say, hey, remember this, and your agent knows exactly where to put it. So let's keep going. Let's see, what are some of the other things? Yeah, here was one. Luca said anytime he asks for an explanation, use this format. When he wants to generate research reports, it gives it these steps. But this one was actually my favorite. I've always dreamed of this idea of taking a link, pasting it, and just having it go somewhere. Just automatically prepared for me at some future date with all the information I need. But I just don't have the time to do anything with it now. So I taught my agent to do just that. I wrote these instructions, and let me show you how this works. So let's pretend I'm in Slack, and I was assigned a to-do, and today I'm not going to use unreads as my task management system. And I'll just paste that link there. And also maybe Marina's, chatting up, telling me about this book she read, and then this movie she's gonna go see this weekend. So I'll just hit enter. And if you look at that message, it's pretty weird. It's kind of just like gobbledygook. If you sent this to Notion AI or any other AI tool, they'd be pretty confused. But you can see, since I've given my agent these directions, it knows exactly what to do. It's going to my triage database, it's seeing the 3 links, it's making 3 pages, and reading those links to start to enrich all of those pages. So if we open it up, you can see every page summarizes what was going on. It added a tag for tasks. This one was an entertainment book. This was a book, so it got the entertainment tag, a movie. So just a quick example of, it's not the craziest shortcut, I'll be honest, but it's something I'm using 5 to 10 times every day, and hopefully shows you just how flexible, powerful, yet simple this personalization system is. It's all built on a Notion page, so it works out of the box and automatically with the rest of your setup. This one, we really can't wait to see what you do with it. So finally, let's talk about our last Notino, Akshay. You know him, you love him, he might be sitting right there.
Yeah.
Akshay is our chief product officer and one of the co-founders at Notion, and he keeps track of what we're shipping at Notion through a process we call EPD outcomes, EPD standing for engineering, product, and design. So for 50 or so of our biggest projects, teams are writing updates every week. Marina even talked about, she's got a custom agent doing this for her. It's a great ritual for providing visibility for people as well as agents across Notion. But for Akshay, staying on top of all of those updates is a lot of work. He said he spends about 2 hours every Tuesday morning just reading the updates, and he's not always sure where to start or what he'll find, but fortunately, he found a way to use agents to make his life a little easier. So let's show you what he's doing. So I'll jump to Akshay. So here's an example of a database that Akshay would be looking at on a Tuesday morning. It's got all of our updates by project, tagged with statuses across teams. So what Akshay did is he similarly built his own personalization, and he told it how he likes his reports written and how he likes information from his agent. And he wrote a prompt like this. He said, can you give me a briefing on EPD updates from the last 7 days, include key updates, risks, and status in our usual format? And you'll see our agent's already off to the races. It made a plan, and it's starting to search the database. Database analysis has been our most requested feature from Notion AI since we released 2 years ago, and we're so excited to make that a reality with your new agent. And so you're seeing it's starting to run updates here. One of the questions was, we actually asked what is shipping in the next 2 weeks, so it's running a parallel query for that. So it's really powerful, and instead of going in blind to those 2 hours of reading updates, Akshay has this brief to start his day. So let's take a look. We'll let it load, we'll be polite. Thank you. Great. So look at that. We've got 3 sections. We've got the first one, top things that need attention. It's pulled out the key projects. It's marked it's called the status up. It's highlighted these key action items. We see a section with top accomplishments, what's shipping in the next 2 weeks, as well as some calculations on those status properties across that database. So pretty good, but Akshay actually took this one step further. He said, I'm gonna do this every Tuesday. What if I could have an agent working on this while I'm commuting to work? So this was actually the way most of these custom agents get built at Notion at this point. Notinos are using agent through their day-to-day and starting to recognize these moments or workflows where they can start to delegate work to custom agents. So, and the best thing is, the best way to build a custom agent is using your agent. So we'll see here now, it'll probably take a minute, But just by doing this, they can tee up hours of work going forward, or hours of free time going forward. So let's open this up, and how did this work? So we'll see. It set a trigger to run every Tuesday at 9 a.m., and then it automatically populated its instructions based on the conversation we just had. Once I press save, it's good to go. Akshay will never have to write a prompt again, and every Tuesday, this will be right in his inbox. So Marina will cover this in a lot more detail shortly. Let's recap our 3 Notinos. First, we had Rusty, our database builder, running a worldwide conference through this powerful database. Luca, our shortcut wizard, really creating his own Notion sidekick. And finally, Akshay, our ever-informed product leader, wrangling updates. Now I'll pass to Marina to show you even more about custom agents.
All right, before I go, can we give it up for Eric for running? Hopefully he didn't take all the AI goodwill, and my demo is also going to go well. But at the very end of his demo, Eric showed you how Akshay built a custom agent to automate his own work. Now I'm going to dive a little bit deeper into custom agents and show you how we at Notion built a custom agent to automate an entire team's work, the environment team. So the environment team is the team that takes care of all our offices worldwide. They run a Slack channel called Office Ask, where all the Notion employees can ask questions or make office requests. But over time, this Slack channel became pretty time-consuming for the environment team and also kind of chaotic. In talking to them, they mentioned that they were spending 10 hours a week answering questions that they really shouldn't have to answer because all the answers are well documented in their wiki, and they have the most beautiful, comprehensive wiki of anyone at the company. So it felt really bad. And second problem is that requests weren't really tracked in any structured way, weren't tracked in Notion, weren't assigned to the right people. They were just random messages in the Slack channel. And then third, answers often stayed in Slack, leaving the environment wiki outdated. No one was keeping it up as new information came in. So we built the cutest custom agent of all time. We named him Smilers, and he can basically do all of that to the environment team now. He can answer questions based on the wiki. He can create and assign tickets in Notion. And best of all, he can update the wiki with new info for the team. So let's see how Smilers works. Okay, so is the Zoom okay? Okay. So this is Smiler's settings page in Notion. This is where we've defined everything that it can do. And Smilers lives in your workspace just like any other content. And you notice that we have this new section called agents where all your own agents and your shared agents will live. So if we look at the settings again, you will notice, and this looks the same for every custom agent, at the top we have this section called triggers. And for Smilers, we added a trigger that whenever a new message is sent in the Office Ask channel, he should jump in and respond. The second section is instructions. And I think you've seen a lot of people writing instructions directly in this prompt box here. But what I love to do is write my instructions in a Notion page. And I'll show you briefly what Smiler's page looks like. And I like doing that because a Notion page is a lot more flexible. I can play with formatting. And it's also a really nice way to collaborate on instructions with your team. So I love doing that, but you can do either way. And then last but not least, at the very bottom, we have this section called Tools and Access, which is everything that Smilers or your custom agent has access to in the workspace, in addition to the level of access that it has. There are certain things that they can only view, other things that they can edit. For example, Smilers has edit access to the knowledge base, and I want to show you the environment team's knowledge base because it's just really cool. It has all the information about all our offices that you could possibly want, and this is the basis for the information that Smilers is going to use to answer questions, and also this is what he's going to keep up to date as new information comes in. And then the other thing is Smilers also has access to the global office tickets database, and he can edit the database so he can add new pages or create tickets as requests come in. All right, so let me show you how Smilers works in action. So this is the new and improved Office Ask channel. And you notice that in addition to people engaging and answering questions, now we have this little face, which indicates that a custom Notion agent is jumping in as well. So earlier this morning, I asked Smilers about the printer because I didn't know where it was. And because Smilers knows the wiki, it gave me a perfect answer. So the SF Office printer rooms are on floor 8, 9, and 10. What?
We opened the second floor this week, so there's actually one there in the IT room too.
That's a good call. Okay, let's tell Smilers, hey Smilers, there's a new printer in the second floor in the IT room. Okay, so now we're going to watch Smilers do my favorite thing, which is take this information and update the wiki in Notion. And this way, the wiki always stays current with the latest information, something that's been really, really hard for the environment team. Looks like Smilers already saw my message. He's working on it. Something really hard for the environment team to do on their own. And things change constantly in Notion, so it's hard for them to keep up and then take the effort to go to the wiki, update, make sure it's current. So Smilers can do it for them. And I know we've been talking mostly about wikis, but because the wiki is just a Notion page, you can imagine that the same concept applies for other use cases. Like if you have a project channel, you can have your agent update a PRD based on new discussions in the channel. And it looks like Smilers did just that. So thanks for the update. I've added some information to the wiki, so let's check it out. Okay, so this is the wiki page in our knowledge base where we add information about office locations, and you can see that it was less edited by Smilers, so that's nice. And then if we look up Command F, if we look up the printer section, you notice that in addition to floors 8 through 10, there's a new bullet for level 2. And if we check out the edit history, you see that it was just edited by Smilers just now. So awesome. Now the environment team doesn't have to worry about the wiki being out of date. Their custom agent does it automatically. And yeah. Smilers is a hardworking bot. We love him. So I know we've been mostly engaging with Smilers in Slack so far, but if we go back to his page in Notion, you notice that there's this tab called Chat, and this means that we can talk to him directly in Notion. Maybe something embarrassing happened, and I don't want to post in the Office Ask channel for the entire company to see. Maybe I broke the printer, or most likely Eric broke the printer. He has done that before, so let's just chat with Smilers about that here. Hey, oops. Hey, Smilers. I think I broke the printer. I broke the printer. Sad face. Sad face, sad face, sad face. Help. Okay, so let's see how Smilers handles this request. So first, as always, he's going to check the environment wiki to see if there's any guidance on how to handle broken printers. And it looks like, yeah, so he's doing just that, checking the wiki, and okay. Yeah, absolutely, yeah, fire up, yes. Create a ticket. Usually he'll do this right away, but he's being a little feisty today because we're showing him live. So he's going to create a ticket for us in the database. Okay, created a page called Broken Printer Needs Repair. That feels accurate. Let's check it out. Okay, so he created a ticket in our global office tickets database. And he filled it out really well. I mean, he knows I'm the requester. He even got the request type correctly. It's a maintenance ticket. I told him as a joke to assign it to Eric because he's new on our maintenance team, and he filled out the context.
Sad face, sad face.
Sad face, you got it all right. And if we look at the details, you will also see that it was a page created by Smilers. So everywhere in the product that you can see who has edited things, who has created things, you will also be able to see attribution to agent. So it's really easy to keep track whether a human or an agent has made an edit. All right, that's it for Smilers. Yeah. It's been really awesome to see how much time this agent has saved the environment team. We've just seen him answer questions, create tickets, and update the wiki automatically. He's just like anyone else on the team, and he saves them a lot of time. And now they can spend less time on the busy work and more time on the things that they are really good and passionate at, which is creating an amazing space for Notinos. So I know you might be thinking that building an agent like Smiler is complicated or that it took days, but it really didn't. It actually is really easy to build a custom agent, even one that handles a complex workflow like Smiler's. And we're going to build one together right now. OK. So let me set up really quickly. So the agent we're going to build is actually one of the first custom agents I made for myself. It's an agent to help me manage my interviews. So I'm a PM, and I interview a lot of PM and designers every week, and this is the database that I use to track my notes as I interview people. And every time I interview someone, like 2 things happen. One, I always scramble like 2 minutes before the call or 2 minutes into the call to add a page into this database to write notes. And the second thing is once the interview is done, I always spend at least 20 minutes after each interview writing notes and or summarizing my notes. So we're going to build a custom agent right now that helps me handle those 2 things automatically. So as always, we're going to start new chat. Oh, not you. OK. I'll make sure you can see this. All right, fresh chat. So we're going to build a custom agent that does that for me. So the agent, and Eric showed you a little bit, but again, there are other ways to create agents. You can create from scratch, start from a template, but the pro move is to just ask your agent, your personal agent, to do it for you. And it does it really well, and you have to do little work. So in this case, we're going to create an agent for me that first thing, it looks at my calendar, because you can see my Notion calendar, and every day at 9 a.m. we'll create new pages in this database for the interviews I have that day. And then the second thing it's going to do is that once I'm done with an interview and I switch the status to done, I want it to populate this property with my post-interview summary. And that way, I can just copy and paste the 3 bullets that I wrote based on my notes into our candidate tracking system. And this will save me a ton of time. So awesome. It finished building our agent. Let's check it out. So as always, at the top, we have the triggers, and it added 2 triggers. So every day at 9 a.m., it's going to look at my interviews and add pages. And it's also, when the status property is updated, it's going to update the summary property in the database. So perfect. We wrote a bunch of instructions, looks detailed, but mostly correct. So we'll just trust it for now. And at the end, it added the right level of access to the databases that I need so it can do its job. So it has edit access to the candidate interview database, so it can add pages and update the property. And it also is connected to my calendar, and I didn't have to do anything. We'll untoggle web search because we don't need that, and then we will save our agent. Amazing. We'll favorite it as well because we like him. Now, let's test this together. So let's test the first part first, which is have this agent look through my calendar to add my interviews. So every day at 9 a.m. it will do that. Since it's 3:30 right now, we're just going to trigger this manually so you can see it. So you can just go in the chat and say, hey, add my interviews for tomorrow to this database. And what the agent is going to do is going to first look at my calendar to see if I have any interviews tomorrow. And so it's viewing my calendar events. And then if it found 2 interviews, it's going to add those interviews to the database. OK, found 2. And it's creating the pages. So interview with Sarah and Luca. Let's open here just so you can check it out. OK, so he finished adding the pages. Let's go back. Amazing. So he added the interviews with Luca and Sarah that I have tomorrow. And you can see it in the created by property that it was the agent that did it. Incredible. So now let's test the second part of our prompt, which is once I'm done with interviews, it's going to populate this property. And I had these interviews with Pedro and Mary earlier today. So we're going to flip these to done. And you'll see that I already wrote my notes in this page. So what the agent is doing is looking at these notes and then creating my 3-bullet summary in the property for me. And if we go back to the agent, so if we go back to the page, one page that we haven't talked about yet is this activity tab. So if I click on the activity tab, this is where I can see everything my agent is doing and troubleshoot if anything goes wrong. So you can see that it already noticed, it was already triggered by the property change, and it's doing work. And I just refreshed it, and it's also doing work on the second page. And if I want to see its thought process and what it's doing in more detail, I can click on each of these runs to see the detail. So it's looking at the database, it's updating the page, and it finished the task. So let's go back to the database, and here it is. It filled out the summary from my notes, and now all I have to do is copy and paste this into the candidate page. So we built this agent in 3 to 4 minutes, and this literally saves me hours a week. I have the exact same setup working for me right now, and it's been a lifesaver. So here we go.
Yeah, we're just going to wrap it up. I think hopefully those gave you some good examples of how we're using custom agents and our personal agents, both on our own and across our teams. We really can't wait to see what you do with them, but Marina's going to close us out with our last 3 kind of use cases you can try today.
We wanted to end this with like 3 things that we think would be really helpful, a helpful place for you to start, which is the first one, you can use your personal agent to update your databases. Create pages, update properties, create views, just like Eric showed Rusty doing. So the second one is to use your personal agent to analyze your data, just like Akshay did with EPD project updates. And lastly, as soon as custom agents come out, we think that a nice place to start is to try to create a Q&A bot like Smilers that brings the information from your Notion workspace into Slack, from Slack into your Notion workspace. And that way you can leverage your wiki in ways that you never may imagine it was possible before. So we think that together these 3 use cases are a perfect place to start. But again, the possibilities are really limitless with these agents. So we would love to hear from you how you're using them later.
So thank you so much for coming. We hope today gave you a quick insight. Be sure to sign up for the custom agents waitlist on this link here. I've also heard that it'll be emailed to you as well. But thank you so much for coming.
Thanks, guys.